The 2011 Smithville, Mississippi tornado was an extremely violent wedge tornado that devastated areas of rural Mississippi and Alabama, including the town of Smithville, during the afternoon of April 27, 2011, resulting in catastrophic damage and numerous fatalities. The tornado was part of the 2011 super outbreak, the largest tornado outbreak in United States history. The tornado reached a maximum width of 3/4 of a mile and wind speeds of 205 miles per hour. After producing a long track, EF3, that touched down near New Wynn, the same supercell produced the tornado that touched down 3 miles west-southwest of Smithville at 3:42 Central Standard Time, snapping numerous trees near the Smithville recreation area. The fast-moving tornado then rapidly intensified as it approached town, reaching F5 intensity as the storm crossed Davis Road south. The ground was deeply scarred in a nearby field, leaving a trench in the ground that was still visible in rural photography that were taken a year later. The tornado began producing very intense damage and swept away multiple homes as it moved northeast following Mississippi 25. The first fatality occurred in this area as a bed and breakfast was demolished and swept from its foundation, with debris from the structure scattered a long way downwind. Cinder blocks from the structure were broke down into small pieces of concrete and scattered throughout a nearby field. A semi-truck was thrown 300 yards and destroyed in this area, and an RV was thrown 250 yards and partially buried into the ground nearby. A second semi-truck was completely torn apart, with its bumper later hanging in the struts of the Smithville Water Tower, located 1.4 miles to the northeast. One brick house was swept away along the path as well, and part of its foundation slab was pulled up and slightly dislodged, with extensive ground scouring and the barking of trees on the property. The tornado scoured the topsoil to a depth of a foot. Some metal storage buildings and 14 mobile homes were demolished nearby, with metal framing from some of the mobile homes torn into pieces and twisted. The tornado then entered Smithville with EF5 intensity, producing EF5 damage as it moved through commercial and residential areas. Dozens of well-built, anchor-bolted brick homes were completely destroyed and blown away. In town, many hardwood trees were debarked and shredded off at the ground level. One large brick house had its foundation dislodged and shifted, with intense debarking and shredded low-lying vegetation. Furniture and appliances and plumbing in the homes in the tornado's path were missing. Some homes had floor tiles scoured from their foundations. Debris along the outside of some homes were shredded as well, and debris from many of the homes was finely ground into small pieces. An SUV was thrown a half-mile into the top of the Smithville Water Tower, then bounced off of it and hurled another quarter-mile, before impacting the ground and coming to rest on the opposite side of the city, where it was later found crushed into a small ball. The city hall, 4 churches, the post office, the police station, several businesses, and the water system were completely destroyed. Tar and chip pavement from a road was torn and rolled into piles. Intense ground scouring was noted in several areas, and a 1965 Chevy truck was thrown from one residence and never found. Several other vehicles in town were thrown several hundred yards and torn into multiple pieces, stripped down to their frames or wrapped around trees. Some of the damage show that many of the vehicles wrapped around trees encountered extreme subvortices. Overall, the tornado destroyed 117 structures in Smithville and damaged 50 others, killing 16 people.